Who am I? Well, I'm Pastor Dennis Martin, and I was born in the 60s, and my mother had me out of wedlock, actually, but my grandmother raised me from a child until she passed, and it was just one of those experiences. My grandmother was a church mother at the church, and she kept me in church all the time, and so sort of always have been in church basically all of my life. I've done some things, but I've been in church, and my grandmother raised me in church. Well, Gene Martin is my uncle, and he raised me along with my grandmother. And the influence that he's been in my life, he's been like a father more than an uncle. And he somewhat took me from high school and went on the road traveling with him and started evangelizing. And that's really how I got into the ministry of evangelism and becoming a full-time evangelist. And we travel all over the country, all over the world. We've been to places that most people probably have never been, Indian reservations and all kind of places we've been, believe me. And we've traveled, we drove these places, we've been everywhere. But it was a great experience for me, and it really taught me the value of ministry and evangelism. And then the Lord, of course, had me many, many years ago to meet Bishop G.E. Patterson, the late Bishop G.E. Patterson, and what an influence he was in my life. He really came in my life at a time that I was really thinking about quitting ministry, and he made me seem so important. I remember many times that I would get a call from him on a Friday, and he said, my people want to hear you Sunday. And I'm like, your people want to hear me? He said, I'll see you Sunday morning. He would bring me in to preach, and he would leave and go wherever he had to go, but he would leave his pulpit to me. And so he was a great influence in my life, great inspiration. And then the late Bishop M.J. Pace, Murphy Pace, is my brother-in-law. And I came aboard with him. He is really the reason that I joined the Church of God in Christ. I remember I was a member of the Church of Atlanta Lighthouse during the time. I remember calling Bishop Spires and asking his advice about it. And he said to me, it is a great opportunity for a young man your age. And he released me to go, and I did. And I tell you, I don't know what else to say, but it's just been one of those great things. And Pastor Pace sort of pulled me on, took me under his wings and just taught me and helped me a whole lot. And so I'm grateful to these men for what they taught me. And I was evangelizing, had a full-time ministry as an evangelist, traveling, and they got a lot of prophecy saying you're going to pass. And I was like, oh, not me. I'm not passing anybody. I'm doing this evangelist thing the rest of my life. But the Lord sort of set it up and called me. And I never forget that we were in a consecration type service down in Columbus, Georgia. And I was really not going that particular night. I was going to go the next night. And while we were out, I really felt an urgency in my spirit to go to that service. And I got up and I said, I got to go to the service. And I got in the car, I got dressed, got to the car, drove down that way, didn't know where I was going. I stopped and found where the church was and went there. When I got there, they were really at the end of service. And I sort of said to the Lord, now, why am I here? I'm here at the end of service, and what is the purpose you want me to come? And when I got there, I spoke to the bishop, the late Bishop Chandler David Owens. And as I spoke to him, and that was it, and he said, I'll see you Sunday, because I was preaching for him on Father's Day. And so happened, our bishop now, which is sort of funny, our bishop now, Bishop Norman Harper, was riding with Bishop, and they were in the process of trying to see who they were going to put here at Holy Trinity. And Bishop Harper said to Bishop Owens, have you considered Dennis Martin? And Bishop said, no, I hadn't thought about it, but Bishop Harper said, I think he'll be a great choice. And when I got to church Sunday morning, Bishop Owens said to me, I got a church for you, and I need a decision right away. Well, I'm going, Bishop. So what I did, I got home and I talked with my family. I talked with my mother-in-law, Mother Pace, I called Bishop Patterson on the phone, Bishop G. Patterson. We talked, and he told me, he said, I told you a few weeks ago that you would probably have an opportunity to pastor church. He said, you need to take advantage of it and do it. And so I called Bishop Owens and accepted the appointment. May 20th, 1997, he came on a Tuesday night, appointed me. The next Sunday, May 25th, I came here and preached my first message. It's time to move forward was the message I preached. And first service, I was like, oh God, did I make the right choice? When I first came to Holy Trinity, there was about 8 people, 8 members, and they were here the night that I was appointed. Then when I got church Sunday, there was about 15 people. Well, I had a family. I had 2 small kids, a wife, and was, I'm trying to support my children and family and stuff. And the funny part about it was, we raised the offering. We got to raising the offering. It was about $31. And they just gave it all to me. And I took my family to KFC and got something to eat, and we went on. But the Lord has blessed since then, and I don't regret the decision and the choice, because I believe and know it was the will of God for me to do it. And there have been a lot of people that have come through here, some that are still here, that the testimonies that they give, the emails, the texts that they send to me, say to me that it was the right choice. Just stay the course, be encouraged, and know that it's something that the Lord called you to do. And if it's something He called you to do, you just have to stay with it. You got to just endure and do the things you have to do. I found out that ministry, being called to ministry and being called to a church and pastoring people, sometimes it's not that easy. It can be difficult, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's always easy sometimes, because you have people that come, you have people that go. But I found out that it's really a joy if the Lord has called you to do it, that you will do it with a love and a passion. And when you have a love for the people that you pastor, it's certainly a blessing. And so I would encourage them just to keep going. When I look today, a lot of people, they'll try to make you feel bad if you don't have, great numbers in your church. But I often think of it this way. When you look at the way society is made, I appreciate all the big stores, and we go to some of the big supermarkets and different name supermarkets, and they got the superstores where they got everything seemingly in there. But every now and then, even though you go to the big stores, even though you go to the big malls and everywhere, every now and then, there's a mom and pop store somewhere on the corner that's carrying something that the big stores don't have. Don't mean that the big stores are not important, but it does not also mean that the mom and pop store is not important. They're just as important, because it carries something in there. I remember when I was, years ago, there was a store in a section of town here called the West End. And I'll never forget, it was a store, it was crowded. When I say crowded, it looked like everything was running together in the store. It was a little bitty store, and it was right across from the mall. But I could go to all the stores in the mall, but there's one thing I could never find in any other store in that area I stayed. I always went to get me some chocolate chip cookies. They were in this red and white box, this little bitty, and it was chocolate chip cookies. And you could go to all the grocery stores, never could find them cookies. That was the only store that looked like in the whole area that sold those particular cookies. And so that place always had my support, because they were the only ones that served it. Sometimes you have to understand that God gives us to do what we do, and some people have great growth and other things, and some people the growth is a little slower. But if you stay the course and sometimes build it one member at a time and with love and compassion, and that's why even here on Sundays, You know, I've learned something that's really been a secret to me for many, many years. And that is when I'm through ministering, I know sometimes you can be tired and exhausted, but I stay around and shake my members' hands. I stay around and greet visitors because I want to be friendly to people, because people don't have to be nice. They don't have to come. So I like to encourage every pastor, no matter what size you are, no matter what's going on, the difficulties that's going on financially or whatever it may be, just stay the course and God will see you through.